Oh, so it's thank you for joining me in my studio. It's Diane Evans, and I'm with stampinwithdiane.com. I'm an independent Canadian Stampin' Up demonstrator here in the interior of British Columbia. So if this is one of your first times joining me, welcome. I'm so glad that you have found me. Do make sure that you subscribe to my YouTube channel. I do lots of different videos, and I do an awful lot of lives on here as well. So if you hit the subscribe button and also hit the bell, you'll get notified immediately as soon as I upload a new video. So I'm excited today about this technique. It is one of those techniques that if you love doing anything with embossing powder, you will enjoy doing this kind of technique. So I don't want to leave it too long. I don't want to talk too long. Let's get cracking and get going on that with embossing. I'm using the Welcoming Woods. Now, this is a stamp set that is from the J to D mini catalog, and I just love this stamp set. I've seen some beautiful things done with it. But when I saw this, I thought of the black ice technique. And the black ice technique is an embossing technique that you do. So we're going to go through and we're going to learn how to do that. So I have some different, I have some items here. I have the silver from the silver foil. Now this year we have our silver foil, and it comes in a pack of 3, and it has these 3 different types of silver. It's a brushed silver. This is kind of like a, I'm not sure what kind of a silver that one is. It's quite a smoky type bluey one, and this is like a gun barrel silver. So it comes in a pack of 3 with the 3 different types. So I'm using the brushed silver, and I happen to have this, and I believe it is at, oh my goodness, let me just double check this. This is 3.5 inches by 4.5 inches, and then I've just gone 1/8 of an inch bigger than this. I have a piece of the basic black, and it's 5.5 by 8.5, and it's scored at 4 1/4. And I always fold into the mountain, and I use my bone folder to get a nice crisp fold along the edge there. Now, don't fret. All of the measurements will be on my blog, and that blog will be listed below. There'll be a link to my blog. I have a piece of smoky slate. Now, I've already done this ahead of time, but I've run this through with my new Timber 3D embossing folder. I thought it would kind of go good with the trees themselves. And then I also have a piece for the inside, and that is, I like to go this stranger size, and this one happens to be 3 3/4 by 5 inches, and we'll do something with that as well. So with the black ice technique, what you need is you need StazOn. You need StazOn, you need some Versamark, and you also need, I am going to use my Stamparatus with this. Now, it's usually not a good idea to use StazOn with, these are photopolymer stamps, but if you clean it right away and then condition your stamps with your stamping mist, you'll be okay with using the StazOn with this particular one. And because I want a really dark image from this part, I am using my Stamparatus as well. You also need some clear embossing powder. So let's go get started on this. Now, I'm also going to use, just for some different things, I'm using a repositional tape. And I just like that so that I don't get all this all mucked up with my fingerprints. So I have my StazOn ink. And you'll notice that what I have in the inside of my lid here is I have dimensionals. The StazOn comes with a plastic thing that goes on top of it. By putting it there, you're not going to lose that plastic. This is a solvent ink. It's a permanent ink, and if you don't have that on there, it could dry very quickly. So all I want to do is just do this like this and rub it down, and I want to do it softly. I want it to be darker up at the top, and we just want it to come down. And you notice I just turned it. I want the image to show is what I'm wanting it to do. Now, if any of you are from an area where you get snow and that sort of stuff, that's where you get black ice. So this is where this technique kind of comes from. you can't really see the ice technique or the ice with it. Now I have this already put onto my Stamparatus, and you know, I'm going to lift this up, and I don't want to have my fingerprints on here, so I'm actually going to go ahead, and it's funny how these keep flopping up. Whoops. To make sure those magnets don't get together. So I have this going, and I think it goes, I'll have to just double check. Goes about there. So I think that's about where it goes. I'm going to put that there. Nope, we're going to have to move that up a bit. And I want to mark this just in case it does move on me. So just bear with me here. Okay, that looks like that's about good in that side. Now we just want to bring it down. So let me try this spot. That looks like about just up just a tad. And what did I say? No fingerprints. And what did I just do? I just put a whole pile of fingerprints on there. So I'm just going to take this like this, and I'm going to mark this so that I know where it goes, just in case it lifts up on me. So I'm going to really secure these down, and I really want to go down and put some more of that repositional tape on the back there, because I want to make sure that that is going to stick and not move around. And because it's photopolymer, that's what happens, is that it tends to move. I don't know if you, whoops, see, if you, it tends to stick and it lifts the paper up. And so that's what I'm actually trying to avoid here. Okay, that looks like that should be good. Okay, so now I've got that in the same spot. I am going to ink this up with StazOn. All right, so let's go. I'm just going to put this first mark underneath the pad so that it marks it. Now this should be good and inked. This is a fairly new StazOn for me, and I want to make sure it's good and inked up. And StazOn dries a lot sooner and quicker than any of your other inks, so you want to get that down on there quickly. So I'm just going to, let's hope that that comes off and goes on there. Now see, this is going to come up. I'm going to move my magnets out of the way. There we go. So with it coming up like that, see, that's what happens with photopolymer stamps. So I'm just going to rub it down on this back side here so that we make sure that it's good and inked up. That's the only drawback with using photopolymer stamps as well. So let's just hope we've got a really good image on there. So let's take that off. Ooh, I'm going to be happy with this. I can see, oh my goodness, is that not a great image on there? All right, so I really should, and I will. I'm going to use my StazOn cleaner, and I'm just going to put that onto my stamps and let it sit until I can finish doing this video, because I want to make sure that it comes off. So I've just put it on there, and it's just going to, I'm just going to wipe it off. All right. Ooh, I'm happy with that image. I'm really happy with that image. All right. So I'm going to let that dry, and I'm going to show you something else that we're going to do in the meantime. So like I say, I've already run this through with that embossing folder, and I used it with the Timber 3D embossing folder. That's this one. This one's new in the mini J to D catalog. And now I'm going to take my smoky slate. I had done this a couple of different ways, but I found that this was probably the least, the best for doing this. So I'm going to take some of my sponges, and I'm just going to do this so that it highlights. I didn't want it to be really, really dark. I've got some other ones that it's quite dark if I ran this onto the embossing folder. So this works really good with the embossing folders. So let's just get that. And it's kind of just giving it kind of a subtle darker look to it, but it just gives it so that you can actually see more of the wood grain that's on there. And even by doing it back and forth, it comes up a little bit more. Now, originally what I was going to do with this was I was going to emboss with this, but I'm going to see how I like that. Is it going to be enough, or should I put some clear embossing powder on there? That I've got to figure out in just a second. All right. So here's this. This is the second part that comes along with the black ice technique. So you're just going to take your Versamark and you're going to get it good and colored, or good and covered. And then I'm going to take my clear embossing powder. You have the choice of 3 different colors in with this pack, and that is white, black, and clear. I'm going to do something that's just a bit different on here. Coming back in with my repositional tape, because I want this on here in such a way that I am going to be able to emboss, or to heat emboss right on there. Now, your heat gun has 2 temperatures. You want it to the highest temperature, and then that way what's going to happen is it'll do a really nice embossing on there. So let's just get this embossed, and it bubbles. It's like an ice and that's where it comes about, this black ice technique. And it gives that, I don't know, it's just kind of a really nice look that it gives you, where it antiques it, kind of, I guess is what it is. All right, so I have that. See that image? It's such a pretty image. And then I'm just going to actually layer that onto. I'm just going to let that cool off a little bit. So now I have to decide, and I think I am going to go ahead and do this as well. So I'm just going to come in with my Versamark as well. And this one doesn't matter, I guess, if I get my fingers that much on here. And I'm going to put this into the clear embossing powder as well. We go. And now what I can do is I can just heat set that as well. And this is just going to also accent the color that I've put on there with the blending brush. You want to make sure that you get it all embossed, because otherwise the embossing powder comes off as well. There we go. It's almost done. This, like I say, was a bit of an afterthought. There we go. Okay, so now what we can do is we can go ahead and we can layer that onto. And I think with it a little bit embossed, a little bit not embossed, it's kind of neat. It gives that different sort of a look on there. Let's just, I'm going to use glue because I've used my embossing. It's kind of warped a little bit, or warped from the heat. So this way it'll let it sit right down really good onto the card. Now this is definitely a masculine card. And I think we can make this into a birthday card. Might be a good idea. Now, like I say, I've got this piece, and this piece is 1/8 of an inch border around. Let's put that on there. Should maybe move this out of the way because it's got embossing powder on it a bit. So let's put this here. Just that fine little border. That's going to accent it. And I think too, what we can do is we can use these Baker's Twine Essential Pack. And I love this because they were in all the different colors. So I didn't want to put something that's metallic. I thought maybe black or maybe even the gray. I'm not sure. So let's see if I can get that off. It's right there. There we go. Yeah, and I think what we'll do is I'll just do this around here a couple times. Just tie it in a knot. Let's just cut that off. And then what we're also going to do is we are going to, and I think what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to emboss the sentiment on there. So let's see. Now, if you ever have any problems with something like that, what you could do is you could go ahead and just put a glue dot on there. And you know what? I think I will. I'm having issues. So I'm just going to come in with my Take Your Pick tool. Grab a glue dot. Just going to put it down there so that it's like a third finger. It allows me to just put that down there. Whoops, now it's come off. There we go. Let's try that again. So I'm just putting that down. I'm sticking my twine on top of it so that I've got something to hold it down so that I can just tie the knot in there. Now, if by any chance you don't get this tight enough, I can show you another tip. So just like this. And what I could do, and I want this kind of separated a little bit there. I could do is I could, if it wasn't tight enough, I could go here and tape it onto the back. So I'm going to put this like this. And then what we need is we need a sentiment. So I've got this spare black. And I think what we're going to use is use a best year. And we're going to just stamp a birthday wish on it. So I'm going to come with my embossing buddy. You notice I didn't use that embossing buddy the first time, right? And the reason I didn't, I want to put it sideways, is because it didn't matter. It doesn't matter how that particular look is. It just is going, it doesn't matter if it's all over the place, the embossing powder. So this particular one says, let me just get my silver embossing powder. And where did I stamp that? Oh my goodness. Can't even see where I stamped it. There we go. So this one's got a bit of a halo on it. I am going to be fussy cutting this, so I'm not too worried about that part of it. But I'm just going to come in with a paintbrush. And I'm just going to take this off. Sometimes the best way to do that is to just blow on it. And let's heat that up again. This one won't take very long to do either. But this whole video is about heat embossing. So what is heat embossing if you don't use your heat tool, right? So What a beautiful happy birthday sentiment. I think this one is so, it's elegant, it's masculine enough, so it works really good. And then all we're going to do is we're just going to fussy cut that. Oops. So I'm just going to take this. Just like that. And you notice what I'm doing is I'm moving my paper. Just like so. There we go. And now I can just go ahead and let's just put this card together. Like I say, I'm going to trim this off in a bit. So I'm going to use my dimensionals on there. And I can go ahead and use my black ones. And I happen to have this one of almost all used up. So let's just use that. So we'll put that across there. What a great way to use up your dimensionals, right? And just use some of these. Oops. Put one in the middle. We don't want it sagging in the middle. One there. This one about there. And just, like I say, now I've used that whole lot of dimensionals up. So, and then let's just do this. Oops. Oh, I must have cut all these individually. There we go. Oops. I love using black dimensionals when it's black on black or there's a black that's going there. So let's just go and put this. We're going to put this up just off to the side that way. And then I've got this as well. And I think that can go just here. Let's see. I'm going to use some dimensionals on there. I have my little ones here. And another one here at the end. Oops, and it looks like there we go. All right, so let's just get that on. Excuse me. Now, I was thinking, and I wasn't sure whether or not if I should use some, let's just put that right about, really wanted that kind of separated. I should have had that really on the other side. I wonder if I could do this like this. Okay. Let's put it there. I'm going to just give these a little bit of a haircut. Just like so. And now I have the choice of using these matte black dots. So it's just a matter of, do I think that they need them? So I'll just go on and we'll just give it a try. And then at that point, I can decide after or while I'm doing it. So do we want to have some of these black dots? They say always to have them go kind of in a triangle to go around your sentiment, but that to me sometimes just doesn't work. You know what I think I will do is I will do this, but I'm going to put it here, and I'm going to put one here and one here, just to give a tiny bit of a different look. So there's my card. That's using the black ice. So the key things that you need to use on that is stays on. You also need to have some Versamark, and you need some clear embossing powder. That's the most important part with this whole thing. So I hope you enjoyed that. And there's a stamp set that we've used as well. So, like I say, I really do appreciate you stopping by. Make sure that do subscribe to my YouTube channel. Give me the thumbs up. Leave a comment if you have any comments. And also, if you do live in Canada and you do not have a demonstrator that you're working with, I'd love to be your demonstrator. I have a generous reward program. Plus, also, I give away tutorials to anybody that makes a purchase from me, whether it's for a class or whether it's from any different things. I have monthly card classes, and I have an event each and every month. So I'm glad you joined me, and I hope to see you soon. Bye for now.